Why are there microtransactions in video games? Let's talk about it, but first hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you stay educated on how your money works. The topic of microtransactions dominate the headlines of video games every single year. Star Wars Battlefront and all the NBA 2K games are a shining example of things going wrong, with developers pushing things too far. So what are microtransactions? How do they work? And where are they going in the future? So in this video, we're going to talk about basic definitions, context, and the realities of why microtransactions exist in the first place. So what are microtransactions? There's no one catch-all definition for microtransactions that perfectly encapsulate and represent the term. But generally speaking, a microtransaction is anything you pay extra for in a video game outside of the initial purchase. For example, the Call of Duty series offers microtransactions in the form of in-game currency called Call of Duty points for extra items like weapon camos. Many other games sell credits that you can use to purchase cosmetic items as well. The name derives from the fact that oftentimes a microtransaction purchase is too small in price and function, typically no more than $10. Lower priced microtransactions in the range of 99 cents to $10 may make up the bulk of sales, but it's not the only option. Many games on console, PC, and mobile offer macro transactions that cost up to $100 or in some cases, even more. Microtransactions are extremely commonplace in video games today. In fact, it's often more newsworthy when a game does not have microtransactions, but not every game handles them the same way. So what's with all the controversy? The word microtransaction oftentimes conjures up memories of the worst, most player-unfriendly applications of the business practice. The idea is that if you paid enough money, you could eventually acquire weapons and upgrades that would give you an advantage, whether it's cosmetic or upgrades that give you an advantage over the other player. Many multiplayer shooter games allow players to purchase loot boxes or chests with real money. The difference is that these loot boxes only contain cosmetic items, that is, items that do not affect gameplay in any manner. Another element at play is the difference between microtransaction in full-price games versus free-to-play titles. For free-to-play games, the business model is entirely dependent on people spending money on microtransactions, so microtransactions are expected. That's typically the only way they make money. For example, Fortnite is a free download, but you can spend money on all manners of cosmetic items such as emotes and skins to customize your character. None of these items affect gameplay. Some developers will make the argument that free-to-play as a business model is the most democratic because if the developer doesn't create content that is compelling enough, people won't spend money and the game will fail. Some say it's bad for big-budget AAA games to ask for money beyond the initial sale price, which can be $60 for current-gen games and $70 for next-gen games. Developers will point out that microtransactions in games are completely optional, and because they do not impact gameplay, or if they do are limited to single player, they don't affect balance or the general integrity of the game. If you want armor for your horse, you can buy it. If you want a weed camo skin for your gun, you can buy it. Being able to craft a character that is uniquely yours is part of the appeal of many games today. The issue today for some is that games now offer the ability to buy content that in the past might have been included right away. Publishers might counter that the price of games has not gone up despite inflation and rising development costs. Microtransactions are a relatively new addition to the video game business model. Video game analysts who analyze trends and report back to clients to help them make investment decisions generally agree that microtransactions are here to stay. Blizzard made $4 billion in microtransactions in 2017. It further goes to show that add-on content such as DLC, season passes, microtransactions, and other post-launch modifications is becoming increasingly accepted and desired across console and PC, just like it has been on mobile for some time. So why do developers use microtransactions? The first and most obvious reason is that microtransactions have proven to be hugely and consistently lucrative. Almost every major video game publisher now reports microtransaction revenue. As I said a minute ago, Blizzard reports $4 billion in revenue just from microtransactions alone. Ubisoft said in a recent earnings report that digital add-on content is highly attractive because it can be produced quickly and cheaply. Not only that, but any form of digital sale is highly attractive to publishers because of the margin ratio. That is, the difference between what the item costs and how much it costs to produce relative to revenue and profits, which by the way are excellent. There's no physical box to sell for a microtransaction. Even with platform holders like Sony and Microsoft taking their usual 30% cut, microtransactions make a lot of money for publishers. Almost every major publisher that discloses microtransaction revenue has reported year-over-year increases, so you can expect publishers to continue this effort going forward. Take-Two, whose labels include Rockstar and 2K Games, has said it wants to have some form of concurrent consumer spending in every game that it makes. That especially includes the Grand Theft Auto series and the NBA 2K series. Microtransactions are also attractive to publishers because as video games become more expensive to produce, revenue from microtransactions can help offset the development costs of the main game. The price of a full-price game went from $60 to $70 when the PS5 and the Xbox came out. Developers like Ubisoft are now releasing fewer games but supporting those titles for a longer period of time with new content, some of which is paid. As an example, Ubisoft shipped Rainbow Six Siege in 2015, and instead of making a sequel, the developer plans to use the games as a service model to support the game. The developers of Rocket League and PUBG are following a similar trajectory, and you can expect other games and franchises to follow suit in the future. So what's the future of microtransactions? Every major publisher in video games is already invested in microtransaction systems, and they bring in a lot of money and at a high margin. You can therefore expect microtransactions to continue to exist and grow in ubiquity. But microtransactions need to feel right and player-friendly. These things should never impact gameplay in any way whatsoever, and maybe should be used just for cosmetic purposes. But what's clear is that microtransactions are here to stay. So what are your thoughts? Is it fair to have microtransactions even if you already paid for the game? Leave a comment down below and let's get a discussion started. And as always, take care of your money.